Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have comic book reviews for you guys and I'm really excited. I have 5 titles again to kind of review and chat about with you guys. So the first one that I just want to start off with was actually called The New Deal. It's by Jonathan Case. This one is so beautiful. The cover alone totally sold me on it and I was really hoping for a lot more from this just based on the cover because it was a total cover buy, and like I said, I just thought it was going to be so fantastic and I was not as wowed and impressed with it as I thought I would be. But we follow these main characters, Frank, who's a bellhop, and Teresa, who is a maid, and they get caught up in this scandal at their hotel, the Waldorf Astoria. Teresa ends up getting accused of stealing, and once she is released and they kind of proved that she wasn't involved in this in any way, Teresa comes to terms and kind of thinks that Frank is her sticky-fingered friend and that he might be involved. So now we are trying to solve this mystery of whether Frank is actually involved in these like heists or whether there is a different thief happening inside of this hotel. So I thought the characters were pretty great. They had quick, witty, and like charming, entertaining dialogues, and I found that it was easy to be drawn into their well-being and the story. However, I wish that there would have been a little bit more. The other thing that I really did enjoy about this was the fact that it had this bluish, like black and white kind of tone to it, and I think it was super fitting for the 1936 time frame. So that was something that I really enjoyed as well. Overall though, I felt the story was pretty simple. It wasn't anything that wowed me. I don't think it was anything that was super like impressive, but it was quick, it was entertaining, and quite humorous as well. I also felt like it could be a little bit cliche at times, but I didn't totally mind it because, like I said, it was entertaining and humorous and it easily kind of pulled you in and just kept you rolling. I do wish though that it could have gone on for another volume or two, maybe just to give some other characters like their shining moment, because I think there were some really well developed characters that I would have loved to see continue on. Otherwise, I did enjoy this, just didn't love it as much as I was hoping, so I gave it 3 stars. The next one I want to share with you guys is Revival Volume 2, and if you guys watched my previous one, you'll know that I really did enjoy the first one. Still not as wowed by this series as I was kind of hoping, but I am enjoying it and definitely wanting to continue on. So in this volume, we start to get more backstory to the characters, which is so helpful because I feel like there's quite a bit of people in here that you get tossed straight into some of this like action that is happening, but you don't really know how they got there or what's kind of happening. And that is also kind of contributing to one part that I think that's holding me back from giving it totally 5 stars, is the fact that being tossed from past to present can be a little confusing. So sometimes I struggle trying to figure out what's actually, you know, in the moment and what's kind of going on. But as you continue, you kind of see things start to fall into place. So it's definitely helping out, especially on the backstory of how things got to the point that they're at, but it could be a little confusing. I really liked there was a lot more action happening in this because the first one, I feel like they were drawing things out and you were in the moment of where things have happened and you just didn't know, you know, nothing was really propelling forward and nothing was being told to you from the back point of view. So I think it was a little bit just dragged out, and in this one we definitely have a ton of action that was happening that totally sucked you in, made you invested more so in this story, and I found that to be like one of the strongest parts of this one. So there's a lot that is hanging in the air during this regarding all these different mysteries. So there's no longer just one mystery about why these people are coming back from the dead. There's also this like crazy alien creature. There's also what's happened to the sister. I mean, there's all kinds of little mysteries within the overall big picture. So I definitely think they know exactly how to kind of leave you hanging and wanting more. So I'm definitely looking forward to volume 3. So the next 3 that I want to share are all from the same series. It is from Saga. It is volumes 2, 3, and 4, and I am just freaking obsessing over this series. It is so fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and start with volume 2 and then kind of work my way through each volume after that. In volume 2, we start to get more backstory on our main characters, Alana and Marco, as well. We start to see how they met, how they fell in love, and we're just getting more backstory to this great couple and this like star-crossed lovers kind of storyline that we've got going. They are still on the run with her daughter Hazel, but they also end up finding like refuge in some familiar faces, and Marco's parents actually end up showing up. So Elena gets to meet her in-laws, they get to meet their granddaughter, and kind of seeing this new relationship play out there. We also get introduced to Gwendolyn, who is Marco's ex, so that plays like a whole nother twist and a whole nother like element to the story that really just kind of ups the ante of it all. The story is constantly finding new ways to draw you in, to shake you up, and to just keep you like entertained and just totally obsessed with it. Like I said, this series is just continuing to get better and better as it goes, and it is one that is absolutely incredible. It's relatable, and yet it's just like out of this world. It's a weird little twist, but being able to find these commonalities with these characters is such a strong point, and I'm absolutely loving it. So then moving on to volume 3, this is the first one in this series so far that didn't have some like shock factor thing that just totally stops you in your tracks. So if you read this, you definitely know what I'm talking about, because this is the first one that I was like, okay, it didn't have that crazy element, and I'm loving it. And I honestly think they could do without, just because half the time it's there for the shock value. I think it really honestly has nothing much to do to propel the story forward. But yeah, so it didn't have it, so I was actually loving that we got a little bit more into this without some kind of weird segue. And per usual, this story, like I said, is just getting better and better with each volume. It totally continues to pull you in and just suck you further and further into the world, and you just get so like engrossed in all of it that you literally are just living it with them. It is so amazing. The artwork, the characters, the world, the story, the writing, I mean, everything in this is just absolutely fantastic. The one thing about this volume that I literally cannot get over is the narration of Hazel. I love that their daughter is narrating this whole series, but in this one especially, I feel like she's got so much knowledge and wisdom beyond her years, and just the things and the way, I mean, it almost seemed like very like poetic at times, and I just think her voice in this one was so strong and by far the best. And I just can't get enough of this series. On to the 4th volume. This one, they finally get a chance to stop running, and this is where like marriage and family life and the issues that come with all of that start to really settle in. So we see Marco becomes a stay-at-home dad while Alana goes into this thing called the circuit, and she's this actress, and we start to see them have some issues. They start to argue, lines start to get blurred, they start to like basically become these passing ships, and they start to ignore some of their problems, and they don't want to acknowledge it, and rather than confronting them, like I said, they just kind of ignore them. So seeing these real life issues start to surface, and how, you know, now that they're kind of settling into like a life, and they're not on the run, and they're not trying to protect and defend themselves, like things start to get real. And so I feel like you get to really know these characters and their struggles of everyday life that they're going through. You also get to relate to them. And I just think it was really fantastic to see a whole nother side, how these things are starting to play out and how they interact with everything that's happening. Now, the last thing that starts to happen in this is Prince Robot the Fourth, or whatever he is also struggling with some family drama and things happening in his own life. And he ends up joining forces with an unlikely character. So the pairing of these two is not at all what you would expect. I never saw this coming, and yet they are on this mission for revenge, and I think it's going to be so fantastic in volume 5 when all of this starts to play out, because right now you're left on this stupid cliffhanger and you just don't know what's going to happen. But like I said, this unlikely pair team up and they are out for revenge. So I think it's going to be very interesting, and I'm really intrigued to see how the writers and everything kind of make this all play out. Again, these writers sure know how to leave you like on the perfect cliffhanger, between you're feeling satisfied with how it wrapped up and yet you're begging for more with the next volume. So I can't wait to get into volume 5, and then 6 and 7 should be out soon. So I'm almost caught up with this series, which is kind of sad that I'll have to wait longer in between, where right now I can kind of binge read through, but I'm really looking forward to just continuing on with the series because it is seriously so amazing. Definitely lived up to its hype, and all of these I definitely if I had the first one with me, I've given them all 5 stars. They are just a fantastic series, and I do highly recommend them. Alright, you guys, so those are the 5 graphic novels and comic books that I've read recently. So let me know below if you guys have read them, what your thoughts were, or if you have something along these same lines that you would recommend, because I'm starting to get low on my like stock of comics to read. So I definitely could use your suggestions. So definitely let me know below, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great weekend, you guys. Bye.